There we go.
Okay, red light's on. And we're good. Okay. So I got this thing set up with an entry. When I do GarageBand, I got this pre-recorded.
Yeah.
Where it just plays this music. I'm sure you've heard this crap before. And then it comes to about here, and I got pre-roll.
That's your heads?
No?
All right.
Hello and welcome to the Stuff I Heard podcast. This is your host, Joshua Peak.
And right here, I pause it. See how the sound levels on this go down?
Mm-hmm.
That's where this music tapers off. This down here is where we actually record.
Okay.
So when I hit record, I just go. So one of my bullshit things that I like to do is I like to look at the date. Today's Wednesday the 30th. I know I'm kind of stuck on that.
I'm
All right, so today is January 28th, 2019. I actually remember the right year this year.
28?
Yeah. And I'm sitting here with Byron Covington. Byron, I've worked with Byron in the past at Budweiser and at my current company, Performance Foods. We've got kind of a weird history together of working together and military background, and a lot of commonality in that. And I'm happy with the fact that you were one of the first people that listened to the podcast, and I didn't even know you were listening to the podcast. You were just like, "Hey man, I'm checking out the podcast. It's been great." And I'm like, "Really?" I had no clue anybody was even listening. So thank you for that. And
Absolutely.
I'm glad to have you on here. And I said before that there's times where I know exactly what I'm going to talk about, and times I don't. And this is a little bit of both. Okay, so. My wife told me, she said, do not talk about pooping on a stick. But listen, I want to start this off right away because we're drinking some really excellent coffee, by the way. Thank you for the coffee.
You're welcome. Absolutely.
Black Rifle coffee. We're having some of this. What's the name of the?
It's called CAF.
CAF.
Yep.
Caffeinated as fuck.
That's right.
It's actually very smooth. Even though it's supposed to be super caffeinated, it tastes delicious.
But hey, it will jack you up. I've been drinking it for about a little over a week now. And keep you going for about 12 hours.
Get your motor running.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Good. Well, it tastes good. So I'm definitely going to probably try some more. I'm going to get a couple of pods from you before you leave.
Oh, absolutely.
Just try it out for a couple of days and see how I like it. Coffee's one of those things where you go, I want to try this and see what it's like. And then you buy a box of it. And then after you drink it for about a week, you go, I don't feel so good. Maybe I shouldn't have bought. Like when these K-Cup things came out, they give you like a sample packet. And you're like, oh, we get to try like 48 different kinds of coffee. And, me and the wife both got into it. So we tried different brands and different, flavors. And I think it was getting near the holidays and they came out with that pumpkin spice. And for some reason that year, we both went, ooh, I really like the pumpkin spice. I felt like a white girl. I felt like, one of those privileged white girls that are like, oh my God, it's pumpkin spice. I got to have it. So dumb me goes on the internet and buys a case of it. I mean, I thought I was buying a box. When it showed up at the door, I went, oh no, I've made a mistake. And it was literally like 9 boxes inside of this big box. And I was like,
Pumpkin spice forever.
She was like, what were you thinking? And I was like, I don't know. We were honestly just starting to use the internet to order things. So it was one of those unexpected things. And I thought, all right, well, I guess we better get cracking on drinking this damn pumpkin spice stuff. And you start drinking it. And after a while you go, I really made a mistake. I shouldn't have bought this. Because you go, I'm sick and tired of pumpkin. And I guess that's with anything in life. Like if you were to tell, somebody that I love pizza the most, and then suddenly they buy you Pizza of the Month Club or whatever, Steak of the Month or whatever it is. If you have enough of it after a while, you're just like, I'm sick of this. Picture your favorite food, whatever it is. Let's say it's steak, okay? And you go, I love steak. And then you go, okay, well, we're going to have steak every day. Probably 2 weeks in, you're going, can we just have a salad tonight? Maybe some chicken? I'm a little tired of steak, But it's just, I guess it's anything that you have in life, you can have too much of it. I like the saying of everything in moderation, even moderation. Because there's times when you just need to go all in and be like, you know what, we're going to have all of it. Like crab legs. Crab legs are great if you have crab legs once in a while. But again, if you have it all the time, you're just like, bleh. Now, me and my friends went to the beach this past year, and we went to Krabby Mike's out at Surfside. And I know what he pays per pound for his crab legs, and I did the math on my phone real quick, and I was like, all right, how many crab legs do we need to eat so that we get our money's worth?
Right.
And I figured it up, and I was like, all right, guys, we need to eat about 10 clusters apiece in order to get our money's worth. And if you think of it like in Vegas terms, it's like we're doubling down on the house here. We're gonna go deep.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, first thing, right off the bat, one of my buddies pops a hush puppy in his mouth, and another guy slaps him in the hand and goes, "I hope you're happy. That was $3 you just ate." And he's like, "Well, no, I'm not." It's like
Nothing but crab legs. Nothing but crab legs.
it didn't help that he brought his girlfriend, and she immediately comes back with a salad. And he goes, "That's a $20 salad, woman. Are you kidding me? We paid for the full buffet. I can't believe you just went with that." So, but yeah, pooping on a stick. Back to that. I'm happy to report that all of the tests are done, and I can eat red meat again. Yay! All that's
No results back yet.
No, I know. I just put it in the mail. It's actually in the mailbox right now. If you want to go grab it.
Nah, I don't.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, you know, I've talked in the past about, and I know a lot of people are like, "I can't believe you talked about that." Listen, it is important to get screened for colon cancer, and this is just part of the process. So I know a lot of people, like especially me, when they handed me the envelope, I'm like, "What do you expect me to do with this?" And I can fill this up in a hurry. And she's like, "No, this is the." So anyway, there's a little packet, and it's got little tabs that you open the tabs, and it's got 2 little squares inside of it, and you're supposed to collect a sample on there's a way you collect your sample by draining the toilet of all the water. You put the paper down. You're supposed to use a bathroom like normal, and then you have to go back and use a stick to scrape it from 2 different ends and smudge a little bit inside these little boxes. Now, a lot of people are like, I don't need to know that. Well, you might need to know that. Because let's face it, if we're living, we're going to come to a point where we either have to have a screening or we have to have the scope, or both. So this is just going to be part of the thing.
Especially males.
Especially males. You know, women are. They say that women are more in tune with their bodies. So if anything goes wrong, they know immediately. Oh, something's wrong. Whereas guys go, it's just a pain. I'm just sore. Like right now, I'm going through some back pain, and I told my wife, I said, I know I didn't lift anything wrong. I mean, I woke up Sunday morning with it sore, and I was like, I didn't do anything Saturday but hang out and watch TV. And I was like, why would I be sore? It dawned on me, this is the same kind of pain I had when I had my kidney stones.
Right.
I'm like, great. So now I've got kidney stones again. And I was like, when did I have them before? I had to go back and look on my phone. I remembered the fact that it was before I went to California 3 years ago, 2016. And I thought, 3 years, and I haven't had any problem with kidney stones since I stopped eating asparagus. And I haven't eaten asparagus since then. And now I'm having some pain from it. So, you know, part of the process of this screening is I can't have ibuprofen. Well, ibuprofen is like one of the best things that I took before to kind of help with the pain.
I didn't call anybody.
Did you order somebody to come?
I didn't call anybody in.
We have some military-sounding helicopters going over us. Some heavy ones. How about that? I don't know why they'd be.
Don't know any Chinook pilots.
Yeah, I don't know why they'd be over here, but hi guys. maybe they're bringing some extra coffee.
Maybe.
but yeah. So if I weren't aware of that, like I said, I was just going, that's no big deal. It's just a pain. And my wife was the one who was like, you know, it sounds exactly like the thing you had when you had kidney stones. And she's right. So luckily, I had some Flomax that was left over from before. I started taking it, started drinking a lot of fluids. And now that I've done my tests and got it in the mailbox, I can start, taking some ibuprofen and helping out with the pain, which I did this morning. So great. Yay.
Good job.
So anyway, I want to talk a little bit about your military career.
Wow.
Now I know that's like shifting directions in a hurry, but I got to thinking about the fact that you were telling me that you're getting near retirement.
Yeah.
After 21 years?
21 years.
21 years.
26.
Now, we're in 2019 right now, and if you think about it, you were, because I didn't live through it, I'm out on the outside looking in. You were in a couple of years when 9/11 happened. Like, you were just hey, I'm going to start serving my country on the side and maybe work on my college stuff and get a job and live my life, and then boom.
Yep, I was a 20-year-old PFC, no clue, trying to go to college, do whatever. I was actually working at a company making dump trailers at the time, and there was this old fella. He was from, for lack of better terms, he was a Lumbee Indian, and he was working on one. There was maybe 12 guys that worked in the shop with us, and we built 40-foot dump trailers. I mean, big 18-wheeler dump trailers. And old cuz said, "Hey, Pa, you better go pack your shit. Y'all fix ready to go." I said, "Go where?" He said, "Them idiots just flew planes into the Twin Towers in New York." And I was like, wow. So it really hit home to me then.
Did you, when you were in at the time, did you feel like, okay, it's time to put on the damn boots?
It's time to go.
To do?
It's time to go.
Because you were you right away into tanks in the beginning?
Yeah, I started in tanks. Went to basic training, Fort Knox, Kentucky. We call them now OG tankers because they have moved armor school to Fort Benning, Georgia. So we old school tankers. There's not many of us left, but we like to pick about the Fort Benning tankers not being real tankers because they didn't go through Fort Knox. But anyway, I digress. So I joined in February of '98, and straight off went to basic training in Fort Knox as a junior in high school. I left the summer of my junior year. In between my junior and senior year, I went and spent my 16 weeks of my summer I spent in Fort Knox, Kentucky.
Wow.
And then had to turn around and do it again. In 3 days after I graduated from high school, I had to go back. It was called split op training back then. It's OSUT, like the Marine Corps does.
Yeah.
One stop unit training. And so I had to go back for a second phase because they weren't quite done with me yet. But I ended up spending 26 weeks of my life in.
So you knew early on this is what you wanted to do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. My entire family, minus my daddy, was in the Army, served in the Army, and my granddaddy retired. He was retired first sergeant, and I wanted to fill those shoes.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of where I wanted to be. And my cousin was in the National Guard. He was in the Mullins unit. And I said, well, I really don't know what I want to do. And I had a buddy that was, he was a year ahead of me in high school. And he was like, hey, man, check this out. You can come go with me. We go in Dillon, we blow stuff up. I'm like, well, I like blowing stuff up. That sounds cool. I like it,
What young boy wouldn't want to blow stuff up?
Right. Here I am, 17 years old, and you tell me I get all the free ammunition I want to shoot, whatever, blow stuff up. Shit, yeah, let's do it. So, went and talked to the recruiter, and at the time, I wasn't even 17 yet. I think I was 16 when I actually talked to the recruiter, and he said, hey, when you turn 17, come back and talk to me. But you just got to be blessed off by your parents.
Is that like I wonder if that's a federal thing or if a South Carolina thing of you're considered I know in South Carolina you're considered an adult at 17.
Mm-hmm.
You can be drafted, you can get married, you can be tried as an adult.
Well, I still had to be, my mom still had to sign off on it because I was still in high school.
Okay.
Even though I was 17, I was still in high school when she had to sign off on it. So I remember the recruiter came and sat down at my kitchen table at my mom and daddy's house, and we did all the paperwork right there. In February and that June, I found myself in Fort Knox, Kentucky, in a world of hurt.
I can't even imagine. I mean, my kids are older than yours, obviously. When my kids were around that age, I couldn't imagine them going, you know what, I'm going to serve my country. I'd be like, what?
Yeah.
You knucklehead, are you serious?
Well,
how old are your kids now? I mean,
11 and 5.
So, you could just imagine
6 years.
5 or 6 years from now, them going, hey, Dad! And you're like, what?
Yep.
I mean, just think about your own life and what it would be like if your own kids came to you at that age.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
You'd be like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That's a huge step for your mom to be like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, really, especially for moms, because you always hear about moms are always protective of,
Yeah.
my baby.
Well, she did, looking back, she didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
But I was like, hey, this is what I want to do. This is what I need to do. I feel like it's kind of my lineage, if you will.
When I got out in 98, I was early TAD, October of 98, and I came back to South Carolina. And during that time, Somalia was just kicking off with the whole, Black Hawk Down thing. And we were actually on a ready status. They had us on the flight deck a few times ready to go, and then something would happen, and they would go, no, don't worry about it, just go back home, It's like, spent all day here on the flight deck with all my gear.
Ready to go.
It's like, okay, I guess we're going back home.
Yeah.
And then finally it was time to get out, and I was like, I wonder what's going to happen. Well, find out what's happening later, because they make the movie and you hear about it. But you were going in right when it was kicking off too. So it was like, okay, you're going in during a time of conflict, which I guess in a way we've always been in a time of conflict. Some of our own doing, some of other people's doing, but being on the outside later and looking back, you always ask yourself, why were we there? Mm-hmm. Were we helping? Did we help, or did we create more problems? You and I've talked about that before. About are we doing good, or are we causing more problems along the way? And I can't help but think about. I heard a podcast once with Joe and I think Abby Martin, where she was saying, if you look at our history, America is the biggest empire of our current day, even though we don't think of ourselves as an empire because we do it in the name of peace and in the name of democracy. Right. And, oh no, we're helping you, but we go and we have an occupational war where we set up shop and we, we're gonna be right here. We're just gonna take over this land. That's right. That's where we're gonna be.
This is ours now.
This is now a city, and we're gonna have an Applebee's for you guys, and but it's an empire, and it's weird being on this side of history and living here. And then saying, oh no, we're helping. Are we helping? That's sort of one of the weird questions that you don't know until after the fact. I guess that's different than if you were, Nazi Germany, where you go, no, we're going to take care of all these people that are unclean. And, I guess our mentality is different because we are thinking, no, we're going to help. But are we?
Right.
I mean, because I know in the Marine Corps, that's not the verbiage that you're given as a soldier. You're given the soldier of these pieces of shit, blah, 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 we're here to kill the enemy, and they're, and a lot of that is just that machismo of, I gotta, someone in command is like, I gotta get these guys ready to die, because they're gonna die, because they're following orders. It has nothing to do with what they feel or how they feel. It has everything to do with policy and where the country wants you to go. And a lot of people want to say that it's Obama's fault, or it's, Trump's fault, or it's Bush's fault, or whatever. I don't think they have that much control. I don't think there's that much thought involved. I think it's a coincidence of actions of people. But while there's there may be some, hey, if this happens, this will work out later. Like a lot of people say Dick Cheney was part of the reasons of 9/11, that he may have had a plan all along, and that, conspiracy theory, 9/11 may have been an inside job. I don't know if it's an inside job. I mean, I don't know. It would be frightening to think that it was, but if you're rational and open-minded about it enough, you can go, I could kind of see that. I mean, yeah, if you wanted to motivate the country's not in the greatest economical pattern, and you want to dominate the future, and you see technology moving in a direction where you got to go get resources over there, it would make sense to go, let's do one of these black op deals on our own country and blame somebody else and go in there and...
We'll blame somebody else and take the lives of several thousand and
yeah, I mean,
but if several million are going to benefit from it...
Yeah.
I mean, we've been doing that for years, right?
And I've talked about this in the past about how I feel that war, people, especially men, are built for war. Our mentality, the way we conquer things, the way we look at conquering things, the way we... Even as kids, the way we size each other up and get in little stupid fist fights with each other on the playground... is all in who's the more dominant. And you see a replica of that in nature whenever you see, deer trying to fight for the right to mate with somebody else, or with lions who fight with each other to have the right to mate, and so on and so forth. It's all a competition to just further the species. And, I joke about the fact that if there was only guys around and we had the ability to make kids ourselves, we would still live in caves. It took a woman to sit around and go, Gronk, I don't want to live in a cave. Make me a house over there. He's like, no. And he's like, Crude said he'd make me a house. And he's like, fuck Crude. And he hits Crude in the head and goes out and makes her a house. And she's like, my man.
That's right.
And I joke with my boys. I raised 3 boys, and I joke with them all the time. I said, Napoleon did not want to take over France. It was Josephine who said, I want France. He goes, I'll get it back. And he went and took over France. And, he openly said he didn't want to take over France. But he was like, Josephine wants France. I'll get her France. And guys have done a lot of stupid things in the name of the right to, I guess, beat themselves on the chest, and bravado and machismo and pride, and I guess the conquering of it. But it feeds into a lot of things. And at the end of the day, we're all trying to figure out what we're here for. Well, I've said in the past that a lot of people are here for two reasons: either to help one another or hurt one another. And whether like it or not, there's some people out there who just go, you know what, I'm going to take over some shit. I mean, I'm sure that Hitler didn't decide that on one day of I'm just going to take over the world. I mean, you can learn about his past, and you can learn about the fact that he was into art. He liked this woman, and she was kind of scorned him a bit, and nobody liked his art, and he was pissed off about it, and he got rubbed the wrong way by a lot of people, and he was like, you know what, that's it, I'm just going to start a genocide. I'm going to start taking over, and you just keep pushing that guy enough, and he ends up being that guy, and you see that a little bit in some television shows. Did you ever watch Daredevil?
Yeah, I'm about almost done with the last season.
Okay.
So
Vincent D'Onofrio playing Kingpin, I think is fantastic.
Yeah.
Because one of the things they did really well, and one of the things that he did really well, was he is this polarizing giant of a man who is frightening because he is so evil and so badass. I mean, when he loses his temper, you hear that guttural, and he just lifts people up and breaks them, And yet you see a very soft side of him where, as a boy, he was just pushed and pushed and pushed until he became sort of a bad guy. And all his life, he just wanted something different than what he was given and wasn't going to be pushed around enough to a point where you go, that's it, I've had it. And, he sort of characterized that perfect villain that you'd want in a show. Have you seen The Punisher?
Yeah, I'm watching the new season.
The new season? The guy who plays the Jigsaw, the villain in the show. I made a point that he's also like that. He's frightening on screen at times, but also at times you go, I kind of feel for this guy because he's really going through some stuff. And a lot of that has to do with the actor and their ability to, portray that person. But it's not unlike people in your real life. There's people that you come into contact with all the time who, may be a super pain in the neck and, may appear as the bad guy, and you find out later, oh no, they're going through their own crap.
That's right.
With kids, if you ever have a problem with your kids and bullies, or even when you're growing up and you have a problem with kids with bullies, what you find out later is a lot of times they're being bullied at home. And they come to school and that's all they know, and they go, you know what, I'm tired of being picked on, I'm going to pick on somebody smaller than me.
Yeah.
And they do that. And I wonder, did our own government do that? Did our own government at some point go, I'm going to start picking on somebody else because I got to pick a fight with somebody.
That's right.
I'm losing my own fight. Kind of makes you wonder,
Absolutely. Yeah.
I can feel the caffeine from the coffee.
But it doesn't give you, personally, I drink a lot of coffee, but it doesn't give me the jitters,
Well, I've had 2 cups before this one. So
Yeah.
that's probably not the best plan. I also drank the thing.
I've had 3 or 4 tonight. So.
But you've been working all night. I just woke up. I'm going to run through the day. I'm supposed to have lunch with my mom. I'm supposed to have lunch with my mom today, and I was like, all right. I talked about this before, how you layer your day. You have things lined up, and you go, you know what I need? I need more shit to put on my day. Let's throw that on there, and let's do that too, and let's do this, and let's schedule that. I got an optometrist appointment today, or ophthalmologist. One of them's they look in your eye, and one of them does surgery in your eye. Yeah. I'm doing the one with the Stokes Eye Center.
Yeah.
It's supposed to look at something in my eye because I'd gone to see an optometrist. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. And they found some blood in my eye, and I joked around about it might be some CS gas left over from the gas chamber as many times I've been in it.
Right.
And he was like, no, I don't think it's that. I think it's something else. And I was like, okay. He's like, you need to have an appointment with your doctor. And that's how this whole thing got started with pooping on a stick and whatnot. And anyway, they let me know it's nothing that we can tell. We don't know what's going on. We want to schedule you with an ophthalmologist. And I was like, okay. Well, I have no idea what that means. Does that mean I'm going to go in and they're going to go, let's stick a needle in his eye, which is my first fear because I'm wigged out about anything touching my eyeball. Even when I went in to do the test, they have this thing they do, a pressure test, I guess, for glaucoma. Yeah. But it looks like she's literally got like a vice, like a little miniature vice with a thing poking out of it. Mm-hmm. And it reminded me of when I watched Star Wars, the first one. I know a lot of you on the first one. No, the first one for us back in the 70s. A New Hope, I guess you call it now. where they're coming after Princess Leia, and we're gonna make you talk, and his probe comes at her with these needles right at her face, and it's like the camera. And I remember being a kid watching that in the theater, going, "Oh my God, they're gonna stick it in their eye!" And I couldn't stand it. It freaked me out. It was years before I could watch the scene. I mean, every time that I would watch it over and over again because I was a huge Star Wars fan. Every time that thing would come at her, I would go, I can't watch this part. And I would always look away. Even as an adult, I mean, it took me a while before I was like, all right, what do they actually do in this scene? Because I don't even know. I kind of had the same feeling in Empire Strikes Back when Han Solo's getting frozen in carbonite, and they got the sandwich press machine that's gonna stick him with all the needles, and they're like, you see the thing come towards him, and he's like, and you hear him scream, and I'm like, I don't even want to know what happened. So a lot of times, even then, I would turn away. But the thing about the eye, I have, and I'd watch kids at school like push their eyeball, and I'm like, would you stop doing that? That's not supposed to happen. You're not supposed to touch your eyeball. And I still don't know how people put contacts in. That wigs me out. I was going into the appointment knowing that I needed to have my vision checked, and I was thinking the whole time, please don't tell me I need contacts. I mean, I'd rather wear glasses. My granddaddy wore glasses. I think glasses would be fine. I even bought me some reader glasses. Yay.
Well, shout out Zenni Optical, ZENNI.com. I don't know if I can do that on your podcast or not. But anyway, really cheap.
ZENNIE?
ZENNI.
ZENNI.
Yep.
.com.
ZenniOptical.com. And cheap, man, you get a whole setup. I think I got these, which I call my Sunday glasses. And then I have my work glasses, and then I got a pair of prescription shades. I've got all three of them for under $100.
Cool.
They don't accept insurance or anything like that, but you take and key in your prescription, and they tell you how to measure your.
Even that could be, like you said, 3 pair for under $100 is even cheaper sometimes.
Yeah, it's cheaper
than when you have a prescription with
absolutely
with insurance. I know my wife's glasses. She's got some sunglasses that were like over $300 because it's prescription, and they got the polycarbonate, I guess, in case it shatters. But
so
that's even cheaper.
Last June was my, I have to go yearly because I used to wear contacts, and my left eye got so bad, I got astigmatism in my left eye, and it got so bad that I was having to wear these, what they call extended range, and they're so expensive. I mean, costing me basically probably $35 a lens for one lens to last 2 to 4 weeks.
Jeez.
So I was like, yeah, that's not very economically friendly.
No, not at all.
So
it's like $70 a month.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I was 12,
and that's just one eye. That's not counting my right eye. At $80 a box for 6. So, I said, well, let's jump on the web and see if we can find something. Well, before I did that, I spoke to the people that measure your eyes and try to fit you for glasses and everything. And so I picked out these frames I like. They were Oakley frames, which I got eye insurance. The frames were supposed to cover $100 of the frames.
Yeah.
Frames were like $150 or something like that. So I'm like, okay, I'm $50 out of pocket. Well, it's supposed to cover the lenses too. Well, it only covered a portion of the lenses plus 20% or something like that. And I mean, it was, how insurance stuff is. But anyway, dude was like, yeah, I can do these for you. And since they're Oakleys, you need these kind of lenses. But it's going to cost you out of pocket $300 plus.
Jeez.
I'm like, I got eye insurance. It's like, so what? It's still going to cost you $300 plus. I'm like, yeah, let me get back with you, And so I got online and got to looking. Hey, look, let's see if we can find some online eyeglasses. So I found this place. It's amazing. Quick service. I say quick service, 7 to 10 days.
That's still not bad.
From ordering to having them. I mean, they have
sometimes that's faster than ordering them through your own eye doctor. Because I know hers takes a couple weeks sometimes.
Yeah, and they have as cheap as $10, $7, something like that. That's lenses, frames, and all. So give them a check out if you need some spectacles.
Cool deal. Yeah, one of the things I like to do, I mean, you've heard this before, is I like to just talk about things that I like. I like to promote the positive. Anything that can help somebody out, I want to talk about it, I want to share it, I want to get people involved. Speaking of which, I need to reset my camera. So I'm going to hit pause here. And I'm going to hit these cameras.
Record.
Red light's on.
Yeah. Yep. You on
That's why you watch the video, folks, so you can get this part of it. All right, so just to continue, I wanted to ask you, I know I've talked about this before, about watching Killer Mike. Have you seen the stuff with Killer Mike on Netflix? Or heard
his new show or whatever?
Yeah, Trigger Warning?
Yeah, Trigger Warning.
Holy cow. I watched the last episode last night, and it was not what I expected it was going to be. I guess the idea that he had was, what if I use my resources and my influence and sort of help people connect better, help people have the conversations that they're uncomfortable with having. And the next to last episode, he formed like a super group where he realized that there was a large audience out there that never got to hear anything that he was saying. And he was like, what I want to talk to people about is, things like your Second Amendment rights and things that are affecting the black community and things that, people feel alienated on. And he said, and I realized that my voice is just one voice. There's a lot of voices out there. So he thought, all right, well, let's look at the largest demographic that's growing in America, the elderly. So he went to an old folks home that was in Atlanta, and he met with some people, and he says, I want to put on a free show for you guys and, kind of have a chance to talk to you and see if we can communicate. And it was a really uncomfortable scene where he's got a barbershop quartet laying down a beat, and he comes up and he spits some rhymes out, and and everyone's kind of looking at him funny. A couple of people leave, but a lot of people stay and they kind of enjoy it. And afterwards, he says, I want to talk about the lyrics for a second and tell you what it means. And it's an interesting discussion, and they're open to talk to him, and they're real friendly, and they have a great communication. And I think the communication part of it is what's missing. And he talks about the fact that, he feels like a lot of America right now is set up to polarize one another so that we don't get a united idea and we don't come together. Because as long as we're divided on some issues, we can't make changes for the people who are in charge of us. And he's right. I think a lot of what he's saying is exactly right. I was talking with a guy yesterday about the fact that we seem so polarized on so many things, whether it's the Kardashians or the Second Amendment or, you name it. If you wear a blue shirt or a red shirt, you're polarized. He even has a small segment in this of doing this with, making a cola for local gang members.
I heard him talking about
the
that.
Cola and the Blood Pop. And he basically just brought these gang members and said, hey, do you guys look at yourselves as a gang? And they said, no, we look at ourselves as a fraternity. And he said, okay. He said, let's legitimize your business. Let's actually go to build something that is legal, and let's build a business. And he's done that. He's done that with these young guys. They make their own soda. They sell their own soda. They're using the money from it to help their community. And I thought, this is a great idea. I mean, this is something that is a huge risk for somebody like him. Let's face it, he's a multimillionaire. He does not need to do this.
Sure.
But he's like, you know what? This is my community, and if I don't give back to my community, why am I here? And when he raps to the elderly, he talks about the fact of, I want to be able to have a conversation with people who are a lot like me, and to encourage people who are not like each other to have conversations. Because I think if we do that, we're going to realize that we're more alike than we know. So he forms like a super group. He has like auditions and stuff like that for a bunch of people, and he puts like a casting call in Atlanta for as diverse a group of people as he can find. And he gets a group of people who are very unusual. He gets a white supremacist. He gets a woman who's a feminist. He gets a crazy Jewish lady who's a Renaissance singer. She has a harp. He gets a gay Jewish guy. He gets an albino black dude who raps, who's like a militant rapper. He gets a bunch of different people from different backgrounds together, and he says, all right, I want to challenge you to come up with some things that have to do with what you believe in the most, and let's figure out a way to combine all of our thoughts and all of our differences into one song. And they do that, and you see in the episode that they rub each other the wrong way. They argue, they fight, but at the end of it, they have a conversation and they talk about it. And whether people want to admit it or not, when you force yourself to do that, you do change a little. You do alter your versions. and your opinions and the things that you thought about other people change. You know, it's said in the past, what was it, Men in Black, where he says, why can't we just tell people aliens are real? And he goes, people are stupid, people are angry and fearful. A person is smart, a person is rational, but people are dumb and dangerous. And that's truth. I mean,
Oh yeah.
if at work, okay, we have, let's just say we, round numbers, have about 200 drivers. As a group, if you tell them, hey, listen, from now on we're going to do this, they go, what? And there's going to be a huge blowback, and there's going to be a lot of arguments, and a lot of bitching and moaning. If you have someone like me, ride with the driver, once in a blue moon, I'm with a different driver every day, and I say, hey, listen, by the way, this is what we're going to do now. And then we have a conversation about it. Okay, well, let's do it. And I'll do it with you. I'll show you how we do it.
That's right.
It just helps things get better. You know, no matter what it is, whether it's business or whether it's things in your personal life or whether it's politics, it's important to connect to people. And I think that's something that our politicians today have forgotten about. You know, I just looked on Twitter before you came. Apparently the CEO of Starbucks is thinking about running for president in 2020 on an independent ticket. And he's getting a lot of positive buzz for it. There's a lot of people in both parties who are sick and tired of their party telling them they have to vote the way they tell them. And I've talked about this in the past about how you go for your primary, and they tell you, which primary are you going to vote for, the Republican or Democrat? You're like, why can't I just do the party that
That's right.
why can't I vote between the people that I know? Because there's some people in both parties that I want to vote for.
That's right.
You know, and I think it's wrong that we've set ourselves up this way, and because of that, I think this guy's actually going to have a huge push. The fact that he's a success in business is going to help him too, because he has such an outreach and a connection to the people right away. People know who he is. It's going to be one of those things where he's going to have more of a voice than a Ralph Nader or a Johnson or, you know, whatever the independent party could be. We're only going to get better by having access to a different party. If you don't invite new ideas to the table, why do you even have a table?
Well, that's like, you know, what's the definition of insanity, right?
Doing the same thing over and over again,
Over and
expecting
over.
a different result.
Same thing,
Yep.
year after year since 1776.
Which is one of the reasons. I mean, that's one of the reasons why a lot of people didn't want to vote for Hillary. Also, is because we've done a bunch of Bushes and we've done some Clintons.
That's right.
Why would we want to go back to this? You know, we want something different. You know, and I think one of the things that helped Trump this past election was the fact that even his own party was like, "There's no way he can win."
That's right.
We all love the underdog story, even though he's the blonde-haired, blue-eyed billionaire who honestly never worked a day in his life. There's sort of that, you know, everyone telling you can't, that makes you think, oh yeah, watch me. I call it the American spirit. The, oh yeah, watch me gene.
That's right.
And it's something that's kind of bred into us, and, you know, it makes me think about the fact that our country was founded by a bunch of people who got on a boat and said, let's head toward this new land. We have no idea what it is or where it
No
is.
clue where we're going.
Or if you're going to fall off the earth, because at some point they actually thought that you get to a limit and fall off the earth. Spoiler alert, flat earthers, there's no flat earth. And they said, we're going to head this direction and hope to God we get there and then make a life for ourselves. We have no idea what's over there, but it's got to be better than what we have. Are we going to get to a point like that with our own planet? I mean, we're talking about colonizing Mars as a possibility, a science fiction, you know, in the distance possibility. Are we going to get to a point where the Earth is not enough? It's very possible, I think.
Possible.
I think that this is my crazy science fiction brain thinking. I think that what we're going to learn in the future, even though this podcast will never be around for anybody to listen to think about it.
Wow.
I think that in the future we're going to learn that we're all aliens. Every animal, every person, we've all come from somewhere, and it's just the way life is extended. You know, Neil deGrasse Tyson, you know, talked about the fact that during their study of antimatter and gravity, they've learned that there possibly is no Big Bang, and there because there was no beginning and there is no end. That it's all been here and it'll all be here, and that it'll all just repeat. And there's some 11-year-old boy who's discovered the multiverse and talked about how he can measure when this video on YouTube came out, he could measure 11 different multiverses in math. And when Neil deGrasse Tyson got to him to talk to him about it, he said, I was wrong. He said, so far I've counted over 221 multiverses, and I'm learning now that it's probably infinite. And I thought, I had this conversation with my mom. I said, what if the multiverse is real, and what if every version of our life is our version, but we're actually every character in every version? What if, like in a dream, whenever you have a dream and you think about how other people feel in your dream, you only know how they feel because you're also that person.
Yeah.
Are we going to get to an elevated sense of understanding of one another where we can connect to one another and go, okay, I know how you feel right away because I'm also you, and am I going to treat you that way? Right now we have differences.
Black Mirror type stuff.
Right now we have differences. Right now we look different. Right now we talk different. Right now we, come from different areas. There are people that have no idea that you and I exist, but there could be a real reality where we all know each other, where there is a stream of consciousness. I guess they call it the singularity, where everyone is connected somehow. Ironic that we all are connected somehow right now, but maybe bio-wetware where we're all connected to each other and we get to learn from one another. And in the beginning it seems like an idea of, hey, what if I already know how to start a podcast because I'm tapped into Josh Peak over here, and what if I already know how to man a tank and fire, because I'm tapped into Byron, and what if I already know how to fly a helicopter because I'm tapped into this guy over here, and what if it sort of opens that science fiction type mentality, but I think it could be a real thing in the future. I mean, look at how technology's advanced just in our lifetime. I remember being a kid and having a black and white TV and going, I get 3 channels.
That's right.
And now I can get channels on my phone, or if I had one of the Apple Watches, I can get it on my watch, and it's just incredible. It's incredible that this stupid thing exists, that we can connect to people around the world, that anybody, anywhere could just go, oh, who's this doofus, and hit play and listen to us. Anywhere.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
We were having a conversation last night, which I know I've heard you talk about it before, about how somebody's always listening as long as there's a device or anything capable around. With the sneaky advertisements. Well, I heard you were talking to so and so about fishing. Well, have to check out this fishing pole.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's a good possibility that somehow or another we will be tapped into seeing or just figuring out what everybody else is thinking.
And I think that there's going to be a time where we're going to say, I came from Earth. And now I live here.
That'd be wild.
I mean, as unbelievable as that was as a kid, when you'd watch Star Wars or Star Trek or something like that, as unbelievable as that was as a kid, you thought, well, what if? And yet, here we are in a time where Elon Musk is making rockets that go into outer space, and he's launching a car into outer space, and you go, here's just a normal citizen who just made rockets and sent them out into outer space, and is talking about the possibility of what if we outthink ourselves?
Just because he wanted to.
What if we just challenge ourselves to see if we can do these things? What if we didn't spend so much time and effort and money fighting each other, and we actually work together towards a common goal?
Be awesome.
Like, maybe electing someone who's not a green or red party. Just throwing that out there. I mean, I don't even know this guy's politics yet, but right off the bat, I'm interested to find out more about him.
Yeah, definitely.
And if this stupid podcast isn't any kind of outreach whatsoever, maybe other people listening will be like, hey, what does he have to talk about? And I guarantee I'm going to talk about it more as the time gets closer, because I'm not super happy with the red or blue party, and I'd like to promote anybody who thinks outside the box and has a different way of approaching what we're going through. I guess that's one of the reasons I like Killer Mike the most, is he's challenging the way people think.
Yeah.
Triggered warnings. If you watch it on Netflix, just be prepared to go, I'm uncomfortable. You're going to be uncomfortable. And one of the episodes, you're going to be uncomfortable. Doesn't matter what topic it is, probably multiple topics. You're going to be like, I don't get it. That's sort of the idea. Is keep watching it. He's going to keep talking to you, and he's going to make you realize he's trying to help. He's trying to make things better.
It's very, very interesting podcast with Joe. I've been listening to it past couple of nights, on and off. But yeah, he's got a lot of interesting stuff to say.
Yep. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. We've been about 44 minutes or so. I don't really have a plan. most of these, when I'm doing them by myself, I talk until I get out of gas or ideas, and I go, all right, that's it, and I wrap it up. A lot of them are around 30 minutes. I've done some that are an hour and 30. I doubt anybody listened to all of that because it was just rambling after a while. Even I went back and tried to listen to it, and I was like, what the hell am I even talking about? But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up because I know you guys are bored. But I want to thank everybody for listening. Thank Byron for being here. Thank you for the coffee, the Black Rifle coffee.
Absolutely.
If you guys want to try out some pretty decent coffee, man, try out this Black Rifle coffee. I know you can get it online.
Yeah, you can get a blackriflecoffee.com
Okay.
or Amazon sells it as well.
I've seen it on Amazon, and it takes you right to their page, and you know you can get the K-Cups or you can get the fresh grounds.
Yeah, I was praying. I said, please, I know Josh has got to have a Keurig
Oh, yeah.
because I mean he's got everything else. He's got everything, any kind of gadget you could possibly look at this.
Yeah.
But I said,
This is nothing. This is,
I said, I swear, I hope
this is
Josh
cheap
has got
doodads.
Keurigs.
Yeah.
We can drink this wonderful coffee.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's good.
So, but yeah, good luck to you. Thank you for serving the country and all that other stuff.
Thank you
And,
for having me. I'm about done.
So, yeah. We'll do this again sometime. We'll come up with a topic.
Yeah.
I'll get you to come up with a topic and be like, I got something to talk about. I'm like, do it! Because I can have a conversation about anything.
Oh, man,
Let's face
it's
it.
fun.
I can just turn this thing on and talk to myself and be entertained.
You do well.
All right. That's it. We're going to wrap this up. Y'all be good. Rate, review, subscribe, tell your friends, share with others, and be part of the change. If you want to be on the podcast, let me know. I'm going to try and set something up with Kyle from King Jefe Taco and see if we can do something with that on that end too. But that's it for now. Take care. Bye. Stop there. All right. Stop on these.
Yeah, I started listening to